I have a few announcements as well. So this evening's presentation is about squatters and extended stays. And a little bit of, some of you don't know me, here's a little bit of propaganda. And I've also got a QR code here. So if you happen to want to have this for your records or go back to it, you have it available. Well, we stopped doing Zooms because it got to the point where people weren't coming. Then it became just a big Zoom meeting, and it got really awkward. So we just turned Zooms off.
Good.
All right. So that's what we're all about. And I've been managing properties for about 30 years. And I have a tremendous amount of experience with squatters. I don't know if any of you guys remember the good old days in 2010 when there were just squatters everywhere. So I've come up with a lot of tips and techniques that would help you. Some of you guys are property managers, so this might be a little bit geared more towards property managers than it is midterm operators. However, I think some of the tips here will be helpful for you. And in terms of extended stays, I am not the expert. I'll give you some experiences that we've had, and I'll encourage people in the audience, especially yourself, because she's got a lot of experience too on how to deal with people who extend stay. So I'd love to hear what you have to say as well. All right, let's get to it. All right, so the number one thing I like to tell people is it's mostly about prevention. Vacant properties at our brokerage keep me up at night, especially if they're more than 4 weeks. If your property is vacant for more than 4 weeks and it's somewhat near downtown, you are absolutely guaranteed to get a squatter. It happens all the time. Now, we happen to manage a whole spectrum of properties, everything from rough houses near Fremont Street all the way up to the bling blings in Summerlin. So we have quite a range. But by the way, just because it's in Summerlin doesn't mean you're not going to get a squatter. So that happens as well. So if you're managing midterm rental or you're managing long-term rentals, these are some tips and techniques to use. And if you get an owner, for example, that has a ridiculous requirement for a rent price, and you know that property's not going to go anywhere, this is something you want to do. I also brought some show and tell. Tip number one is hide whatever lockbox you use. I love the amateurs that hang the lockboxes right on the door handle. That's like a beacon in the night. Another thing is you can use a radio in the garage or kitchen. I like the radio in the garage because it echoes really well, and if you can put it close to the garage door, the people on the street can hear it. Homeless and vandals don't like noise, so when they walk up and they hear something that remotely sounds like somebody's in the house, they'll walk away. And so you want to get it like a Mexican talk radio or something, AM,
KNPR.
Yeah. So, and you want to be able to hear it from the sidewalk. So that's number two. Lights that go off on and randomly. I think everyone knows that. You get the little things that spin around. You click them so it goes off and on. I like using floor lamps because they can't really see it. If you put on like a lamp in the kitchen, that's not going to do anything because it's on all the time. Boots at the door. I always just leave a pair of boots at the door. If you're at a thrift store or whatever, you can always get a pair of boots put on the door.
Nobody steals the boots?
No one steals the boots. They assume that someone that has rough hands owns those boots.
You're talking about outside the front door.
The front door.
Yeah.
Not your favorite boots.
Yeah.
An old pair of work boots.
They could walk away.
Obviously my heeled boots would not scare anybody. We need
No suede boots.
Pair of work boots. Yeah.
With mud on them.
Home Depot sells these flickering devices. They're about this big square.
Fake TVs.
And it looks like a TV flickering. And you put that in a bedroom or whatever, and it flicks up against the light. So it's effective. By the way, I love to prank my wife on this. Because what happens is it only barks when there's motion. And it'll stop.
Really?
Good.
And it'll actually go through.
It goes for how long?
It's awesome.
Yes.
It'll stop when motion stops. It goes through the doors, so you put it right next to that front door. And by the way, if you have a listing, tell agents because they will freak out. I love this thing. In fact, I have a specific case where vandals had busted out the kitchen window, and the dog barker went off, and they left. They did not go. They did not proceed to go inside. So we have 3 of these things. It's awesome. They just rotate from house to house. I love this thing. The second device I use, and this is usually mostly for commercial property, it's a magnetic trigger. So what I mean by that is I hang it on the door. I hang it on like a bathroom door. And this device hangs on the other side. And what happens is when the door is open, it disconnects, I get a text message.
Oh.
And the nice thing about this is you don't have to have infrastructure. You don't have to have a modem, and coax cable, and all this other stuff to make, and you don't even have electricity.
Yeah.
This runs off AA or AAA batteries, I think, AA batteries. And it lasts, I don't know, 4 months if you have to change batteries. And what I love about it too, it doesn't give me false alarms, right? If the door opens, someone's in there, and if it's 2 a.m., they probably don't belong. So I have 2 of these. I manufactured this connection. So what I did is I made a little loop here so it sits on the door. And so I can just go from door to door to door from vacant properties.
There's also the, we used to use them for like pool alarms too. They work the same thing.
They send a text message?
Huh?
They send a text message?
No, is that one sends a text message?
Yeah, it sends me a text message.
Okay.
How much is the monthly on that?
$20
For 2?
$20 per unit. But I typically charge my owners for that. So if an owner goes, I want $1 million rent on my property, I'm going, okay, it's going to be vacant for a couple of months, and you're going to have to pay me a monthly fee. It's going to include my dog barker, this, and that. So
Does it go off too though? Like
it doesn't make a sound.
Oh, it doesn't make any sound.
Yeah,
It just lets you know.
it lets me know, which is key to catching squatters.
Yeah, because they don't know
They don't know that I know.
Yeah.
Right. That's the next thing. So let's pretend none of these things work. Okay, let's pretend this thing goes off at 2 a.m. and go, oh my God, I got a squatter. Okay, so what do you do? How do you deal with that? And we deal with it all the time. In fact, we had it last month at Pyramid. All right, here are some rules to live by. This thing. Okay, number 1, you never want to go to a squatter event without help. So seriously, or someone's nearby, or you check in.
When you use the word event, are there typically
There are different types of
several
events.
people?
Yeah, we're focusing on squatters tonight.
Okay.
The nice thing is, here, let me give you some good news. Most squatters don't want any problems with you, right? They're just there because they want to get out of the heat or the cold or whatever. And the minute you confront them, 99% of them go, oh, my bad, I'm out.
Is there 50-50?
Yeah, the key is being on them immediately, right? If a squatter's been there for 2 months, they're invested, okay? And it is way more difficult to get rid of them if they've got a house full of stuff, right? So you want to be on it immediately. Second issue is never, ever, ever threaten with violence. I don't carry a weapon. A lot of people think I'm insane, but I don't. And I'll tell you why, statistics. if you carry a weapon, your chances of getting hurt go up dramatically. This is a math issue. I don't care how you feel about guns rights or any of that. I don't care about any of that stuff. There's all kind of evidence and statistics that support if you go in carrying a knife or a gun, you are highly likely to get injured. So I don't carry a knife or a gun. Now, ladies, mace I think is appropriate. It's more of a defensive weapon, right? All right. Here's something you should know. Homeless are never up early. So whenever I have a homeless or squatter event, I'm always there about 7 a.m. And the reason why is because they're still asleep. And they are less likely to come at you fighting, right? Versus, say, Friday night when they're high on crack. Okay, so on a Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., they're going, what? Where am I? You know, they're totally disoriented. The other benefit of going early is the police will be there. If you call the police at 7 a.m. anywhere in Las Vegas, they'll be there in 15 minutes. You call the police in Las Vegas at 4 o'clock on a Friday, never going to happen, ever. Okay, so that's why I always go early in the morning. When you do enter, sometimes you don't know if someone's in there. You're going to introduce yourself loudly. Hello, my name is Jim. I'm a property manager. Hello, hello, hello. The reason why you want to announce yourself is you don't want someone freaked out thinking they're being attacked. You know, because homeless people attack each other. Right, and so you want to make certain they know you're not some other guy that they stole dope from, right? You're saying, hey, I'm a property manager. I'm here. Please, you know, here I am. You need to announce yourself, and it's not uncommon for them. Once you come in the house, they'll go out the window or the back door. Happens frequently. Another tip: never get cornered in a house. Right? So let's pretend it's this house. You're going to open that door and you're going to keep it open. You're going to walk through here and see that it's clear. You're going to open that door. You're going to open up every door you can so that either you or they can get out quickly. And another thing that you should know is homeless have very few possessions. Usually it's like a sleeping bag, a fork, a bowl, you know, an ounce of weed, and some other things, right? So if you go in and they have vacated, they've jumped over the wall or whatever, and you find things in the home, do not lock up your house because they're going to come back to get it. Like last 2 weeks ago, Pyramid, she had a bed and some other belongings in there, so we grabbed everything and put it on the front. Videos are always exciting. So I do a lot of training to my folks, and here's an example. If you don't open the door, I'm going to call the police and you're going to have it arrested. Let's work it out. Come on out. If you don't come out, I'll bring the police and they'll drag you out. Uh-huh. So, if you do me a favor though and change out the front. Yeah, and then I'm gonna see if I can't get my handyman over here. Go ahead and shut that window, please. Morning. You folks have someplace to go? I can help you carry some stuff.
Oh, no, I appreciate it.
We don't want your stuff.
Yeah, no.
I've got a truck if you want me to help you take it away. The stuff in the courtyard's yours still, right?
Oh, no, all that stuff wasn't ours.
It's not your stuff? Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
All right, good luck. You sure you don't need a ride anywhere or anything?
No, thank you, that's awful nice of you.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
So let's talk about squatters. When a squatter finds a vacant home, there are 30 other squatters that know about it. And so they're like, oh, Bob found the place, you know, and hey, did you hear Bob found the place, you know? So they'll be coming. They're like, oh, there's a hotel, you know, we're gonna go
It's
visit.
a 4-bedroom.
It's a 4-bedroom hotel. Utilities on, let's rock. So you have to go every day to get rid of, like the ones I just saw there. Those weren't the original squatters.
They were the followers.
They were the following squatters.
They were Bob's friends.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway,
Have you ever come across like the professional squatters, like they're an organization and they drive the night?
I have not.
We had one in one of my listings.
Yeah.
A neighbor told them to come in, and they moved in with a moving truck. They had the lease.
With a moving
They called
truck.
HOA and said that they were new tenants. And,
Whoa.
What I have seen more frequently is someone who's been scammed. So I like, wait a minute, someone's in that house. Duk, 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 duk. Hey, who are you? No, who are you? You know, and they got furniture in there. And I go, I have some bad news. You know, this is
house is not rented.
not, you know, we manage this, you're not supposed to be here. And they go, oh my God. And they bring out a lease. They go, I thought it was something was weird about it. And, it sucks to be you. I'll give you some days to get out, but you can't stay here. So that happened a lot in 2011. And so that's why, you know, if you have a vacant property, I mean, you need to be on that thing like every week or every week and a half, or put some tools in.
What is the law that if, this is what I've heard, the law is that if they go break in and they change the lock, when you call the cops, they can prove they have access to the front door. So now they actually control the property.
Squatter.
Yeah, you know, I have found in my experience, you know, the police are always on my side. You know, I show up with my business card, I'm professional, and this is the story. And because I'm on it quick, that people haven't had time to establish themselves. The condo that you saw in that video, that was a self-managed condo, self-managed owner. He was also smoking crack. And so if you're on top of them, that situation won't happen. But if it does, I've never had the police go, well, this is questionable. You know, I've never had that. And again, 7 a.m., the police aren't stressed. You know, they have time to, you know, chat with you and talk and things like that.
But if the squatter knows who owns the house and states their name, the owner's name, and that the owner gave them permission to stay or be in the house, the cops can't do anything. I've witnessed that at the house next door to my original short term. And I said, you know, you gotta get this person out of here. You know, she doesn't belong. And I called the owner, the whole deal, and I said, she's eventually gonna set the house on fire. A couple of days later, guess what happened?
You set the house on fire?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Houses catch on fire all the
So the
time.
cops couldn't do anything. They came a couple of times. She's saying, well, Joe Blow let me be in here. Well, she just happened to find out who owned that house.
It's public record, so.
Yeah.
So they don't call the owners?
No, they don't have the ability.
They don't.
Well, and this owner at the time, the goofball, he lived in Wisconsin, I believe, if I remember right. And I was kind of helping him out here and there, but couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But she finally set the house on fire, and that's what got her out of there.
It happens all the time with people that try to manage property remotely. All right, let's go into safety. Here's the safety rules. Number one is no property is worth dying over or hurting somebody. honestly, it's not worth it.
Well, not hurting you.
No, I honestly believe, shooting a squatter is not right either, but that's my belief. So I would say the number one defense you have is respect for others. Every time I run into homeless people, squatters and so on, I treat them with respect. You've got to go, can't stay here. You need help going somewhere. When I have those conversations with squatters, they feel that and they don't come back because I gave them respect. And people will get hurt or get killed for treating others with disrespect. And you see it on YouTube and Instagram all day long when someone diss somebody else and that guy goes, well, yeah, boom, so it's no, don't do this to me.
You walk into these situations, you're very calm, you've dealt with them a million times.
Right.
But like if I had to walk into that situation, I'm already at a level 11 on a general day just going to Smith's. So, I mean, God forbid I encounter a squatter. Like
A little bit of
even
emotion
if,
involved.
yeah, you have to be prepared to take it down some notches in a situation that is high anxiety and stress if you've never dealt with it before. I think that's its own
If it's
thing.
your house, absolutely, Paula, I'm with you 100%. But Jim, they're not his personal property.
I would still be
But
nervous.
still,
I went to Royal Crest.
absolutely.
He's a professional.
I'm a freaking property manager too.
Hell, I
and,
wanted that woman that was squatting next door that set the house on fire. I wanted her out there worse than the owner. Because it was next to my house, and afraid she was going to burn my house down too.
Yeah. The problem is if you get in confrontations with people, it is more likely you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, somebody's gonna get hurt.
And honestly, if you're feeling you're in danger, get out of there. I'm going to show you another video in a minute. It's one of my favorite videos, crackhead video. Got like 200,000 views on it of how I handled the crackhead. And my wife was with me at that time, and she took one look at that crackhead and turned around.
He said, you deal with it, right?
She's like, ah! So she had the same reaction you might have had. She's like, if you feel you're in danger, get out of there.
Right.
Property is not worth getting hurt over, right? So Diane, you come across this situation, there's a squatter in there, and you didn't know that there was going to be a squatter in there, you back away slowly, you call everybody you know.
Mm-hmm.
Call Jim first.
Jim apparently is the crackhead whisperer. The homeless whisperer. The squatter whisperer. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, you're gonna be arrested! Why are you going upstairs?
I'm the real estate agent.
Why are you going upstairs?
I'm the real estate agent.
I don't give a damn what you're a motherfucker. You got no ID. You lied to me. You said you're around 7. You're not there. You get off the property with one police.
Actually, I'd prefer that you do.
I'll kick your ass, bitch. All my police charging you.
Okay.
You lied to me.
Well, how did I lie?
Where's the girl? Where's the girl? You're lying. Where's the girl?
She left.
Oh, she left?
Yeah.
Don't lie to me.
I'm the property manager. The owner has hired me to take a look at this place. I'll be right down.
I've been obtaining to be security. Don't lie to me. You said you're going in at 7. I went at 7. He's like, I'm saying.
Mike's not there. Where's Mike?
He's at home right now.
He's right there now.
Yes, he is. You finna get your ass whooped. I don't trust you because he's my ID. I just make it safe.
I don't
for
have.
homeless.
I'll give you my card.
All right. Jim.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
He lied to me. It's all good. I'm not going to jail again. Where'd the girl go, Jim?
She left. She felt really nervous. Blue.
Oh,
so
this is a dangerous place, man.
I agree.
It's very dangerous. I've been sports books big time. I win a lot of money.
Yeah.
I can't wait to move out of here. See, I like the pink though.
Yeah.
She fired the other people that were cleaning up.
Yeah.
But I like those college kids.
Yeah.
I told her don't fire them, and she fired them anyway.
Well, that's not good.
I told her do not fire them.
How long have you lived here, Blue?
2 years. No, what you did was so foul because I treat everybody the same. Now this is the one I like. That's why I live there.
Oh, okay.
But they really couldn't. This motherfucker was a mess. This motherfucker was a mess.
Fair enough.
This one, no. It was really bad.
I believe you.
They moved all the furniture, that black chair is mine.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Hey, Blue, I appreciate your time, buddy. We'll see you around, okay? All right.
It's not safe, man. It's dangerous around here, man.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
My name is Gary Rucker. But my name is Blue.
All right, Blue. Thanks for
Don't lie to me again.
Thanks for your time, buddy.
Don't lie to me again.
Many years ago, a famous magician in Vegas, I forgot the name, had owned this thing. And he died, and his wife took possession of the building. And so she tried managing it herself. And over the years, she just got ran over. That's what happened. And so somehow she called Barb and said, hey, I want to sell this building. And Barb goes, well, I don't do commercial. Let me bring Jim. We'll do an assessment of your property and then we'll put it on the market. We had no idea it was going to be like this. So we walk in the building. Blue immediately comes at Barb. Barb goes, whoa! Took off. That's why he kept going, where's the girl? He's referring to Barb.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so she didn't hire us. And 4 months later, a fire completely gutted it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so in Vegas, if you have squatters in there for more than 6 months, it'll burn down.
Sometimes it just takes days.
Yeah.
Before it burns.
How does the insurance react to that?
Well, here, that's a great question. I always warn my owners. Most insurance companies will not insure a property, a rental, if it's vacant. So, you might want to mention that to owners when their property is vacant. Be sure you're aware. So, whenever I get an owner that is unrealistic about rent, I go through these things, and so you should be very afraid. Okay, especially if it's downtown.
I have a really dumb question.
Yeah.
Why do they burn down? Because they're cooking meth or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they're smoking and they fall asleep.
Yeah.
High.
Not intentionally.
Cooler.
Yeah, they're usually they're cooking something, lighting something.
Yeah.
It almost invariably burns down.
Okay. Oblivious to
The GoPro, did you say?
Yeah. That one was an old-fashioned camera that I just kind of held in my hand.
Oh.
But after about a year after that, the GoPro came out. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So,
Where do you put it? On your hand or?
And you're strategically
Where
not
is
getting
it?
the face of the perpetrator.
It's not obvious that you're filming.
yeah, so all of our inspections, every time I go to a property, I'm wearing this.
I wear mine around my neck too.
Yeah, body cam is perfect.
And I turn the LEDs off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just talking to people and chatting. They don't even know I'm recording a lot of times. Sometimes the tenant will go, are you recording? I go, yeah, I'm getting really old. This is my way of remembering what we talked about and what's going on. And they're like, okay.
But now you combine those, what do you call those? Google.
Okay, on to a subject that's more applicable to midterm rentals, overstays. All right, so again, it's mostly about prevention. And we preach all the time, especially Mike, making sure that you have at least our contract with your guests. We use PDF Filler, which is a very easy application. A lot of people can fill out a lease on their phone. And it's simple. It's a 2-page agreement. It's not rocket science. How many people are coming? Who's on the list? How old they are? And the check-in date, the checkout date.
It's a little more detailed than that, but you get the drift.
Yeah,
Mine is 4 pages.
Yeah,
Mine is more serious.
Paula's is 4, and
I scrutinize them all.
Yeah, Julie's probably at 20 pages.
Julie says never use lease because then you have to deal with you're creating a tenancy relationship, and then she wants you to say a host agreement.
It says
or host
reservation.
Reservation
agreement.
Oh,
You don't say rental. You're not renting it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's something I need to change. I definitely need to change that on
Makes
mine.
so much sense. Reservation agreement.
But it's super handy if you have to bring the authorities in. But I think probably the key way to prevent overstays is constant communication. We use HostAway because it's a really effective way to hit the guests automatically. So all our guests get 5 pings. The first one is, welcome, sign a contract. Second one is, these are your codes to get in. Paula greets her guests, so that would not apply to her. 3, the day after, hey, how's it going? How's life? 4th one is, by the way, you're leaving tomorrow.
Anyway, you could leave now.
Could you please leave at 6 a.m. so we can accommodate a same-day turnaround?
I actually wish I had some of that in some of the places I've stayed. I'm like, oh shit, is it today?
It's such a good time.
We probably do that every other year. We're like, oh my God, we're supposed to leave today. And then the last one is, prior to the checkout time, hey, have you locked it up? Are you gone? So those are the 5 things. So by emphasizing over and over and over and over again when they're leaving, they get it, right? Honestly, we haven't had an overstay since the COVID times. And COVID times, it was insane, right? Because you had all these people from California that had never had a vacation before and had a lot of money in their pocket. And they go, let's go to Vegas.
That was the worst.
So we had a lot of those. Mike will be an opportunity to tell you one of his stories. So let's pretend you have an overstay. So what do you do in an overstay? First is you don't go there by yourself, okay? And if you do go by yourself, make sure someone's nearby or is aware of the fact that you're going to an overstay. You need to go visit the property. And my favorite technique is just make it uncomfortable, right? So you open the door. Hey, you're supposed to leave 2 hours ago. Can I help you carry your luggage out the door? If you make it uncomfortable, it's not going to be easy to relax and watch football when there's some guy standing in the kitchen going,
time to get out.
So just make it uncomfortable. That is going to solve 90% of your overstays. Don't forget to communicate with the platform. There's a couple reasons why you want to do that. Probably, in my opinion, the number one reason why you want to communicate with the platform is because you don't want some other poor operator to suffer as well, right? So the platform will record all the naughty behavior and they'll never be able to rent again.
Till they make a new profile, yeah.
Also for a retaliation review, if they want to give you a bad review.
Right, yeah. So it's super important. By the way, I'm still here, you're still playing around. Of course, being me, hey, we have another place you can stay. Something like that. And then police should be your last resort. Now the good news, midday on a Sunday, you're probably going to get a response. But again, if you're trying to get a response on a Friday evening, forget about it.
Nobody checks out on Friday. They come in on Friday.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's most likely they'll be checking out, a midday on a Sunday.
Morning,
Mostly.
You can connect to the smart thermostat and put it on heat.
I like that. Turn off the air.
Yeah, I did it in there and then me.
That's a great tip.
And as summertime, maybe 4.
Aaron is just genius.
Yeah, clever.
That is
I'm going to add that to my presentation.
I love it.
Thermostat control.
Yeah. Anyone else? Mike, you want to pitch in on your overstay, your famous story?
Which one?
Which one?
The monkeys? Was it the monkeys one?
I don't remember.
You had monkeys?
I remember you had one that was a good one.
Yeah.
Mm.
I went to check on these guests, and this house has a 3-car garage, a double door, and then a single door. Well, they had run into the brick support in the middle. And I'm looking at this going, oh my God. And they were locals. And I broke one of my own rules. Even though I vetted them, I met them, had them come over, young lady, and had I think 1 or 2 kids with her. So I vetted them, and I actually told them, I said, I never rent to locals. And she kind of laughed at that because I gave her the reason, well, no, we're just here for this and that. And, when I saw that the destruction of the house, which took a construction crew to come look at, I immediately went into the house and said, you have 30 minutes. 30 minutes from now. And plus they owed me some money for overstaying. And ironically, the lady had just pulled up in her Jeep. I remember she was driving a Jeep, and I said, I need this money now. I said, you're not going to get in if you don't give me this money. So she did give me the money, thankfully, in cash. And she said something to me like, oh, I knew if you saw that, you'd kick us out. No shit! So I went in there, and it was just, the house was an absolute disaster. And I was, by the time they were getting their stuff out, I was screaming at them. I said, you know, you're overstaying. And I have these 2 great candelabras. They're these monkeys that I found when I was shopping. These people had them in their garage. I'm going, what's up with these monkeys? You know, there's these 2 great monkeys, and they're like doing like this, and they face each other, and they hold candles. The only thing I was worried about were those monkeys in the house, is whether they damaged those. I had a little tiny Echo Dot, you know, when they were like $29, you could buy an Echo. Well, of course, one of the teenage daughters took that, and I'm going, oh, I can stand to lose that. But it took me a while to get them out of there. It was probably 45 or 50 minutes, but I was standing right there, and I was standing in the doorway screaming at them, get out. One of the girls comes running back, I can't find my phone. And I said, I'll find it, and then I'll sell it back to you.
Nice. We get their ID, and we're looking for 2 things, locals and age.
Where's the local thing? Like, you don't want locals to stay?
Because shit like that happens.
They're not on vacation.
Parties, they're going to invite people over. And this lady, if I could add to that, this lady, there was these funky couples that were in there. I'm going, who are these people?
And other people.
They'll invite other people, that's number 1. And number 2 is they are more familiar with laws, and they're going to be more dragging their feet.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
they're kind of like semi-squatters, no?
Yep.
They rented it, but then now we're just
all of our overstays are typically related to a guest that is local. Yeah.
I think it depends on the property as well. You know, if it's a high end or it's what part of town.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. We have a licensed triplex near downtown, and all of our overstays and squatter issues happen with that one. Yeah. Yeah, Barb deals with those. Fun times. All right, that wraps up my presentation.